All right, welcome to the show, everybody. Tuesday, August 23rd. I got a great one for you today. A lot of really interesting things going on. So we have psycho Republicans who are running for governor who are not for abortions, even in the most extreme circumstances. We'll talk about that. We have some polls that show the left is ascendant. The left is on the way up. I know it might feel like that oftentimes, but well, we have hard data making the opposite case. And Oklahoma is now going all in on the death penalty and really putting their system on steroids and human growth hormone. And it's getting ugly. So I'm going to give you the specifics of that. It's really crazy stuff. By the way, for everybody listening on YouTube, just so you know, if you missed the announcement, the Kyle Kulinski Show is now available on virtually all of the podcasting apps that are out there, whether it's, Apple or Google or Spotify or Stitcher or iHeartRadio or whatever. It's pretty much everywhere. So we were able to get that up and running starting last week. So if you are somebody who prefers to listen to the full shows in podcast format as opposed to, watching the YouTube clips, you're more than welcome to check that out. We're really excited about that. So the difficult part now for me is going to be remembering to remind everybody, because not everybody's going to see that original announcement. And so I'm sure some people, I got to keep saying it because some people are podcast people, and when they hear about that, they'll be like, yes, that's the way I want to listen to it. So anyway, love you guys, and thank you guys for, making that possible in the first place. It's because of your support that we're in the position that we're in, and it's all the Patreon supporters. I love you guys to death. It's the people who fund Crystal Kyle and Friends on Substack. And by the way, very, very proud of this fact, and I should bring it up a lot more often than I do. Over like a decade of doing this show, I've never once had a conversation with an advertiser. Super proud of that fact, and you guys make that possible. So anyway, without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into it. Let's get started here. Let's talk about the Republican Civil War, which is currently raging. It really is. So here we have an article in Mediaite. The headline is, Hannity rails against McConnell, calls for end of his leadership. What's your agenda, Mitch? So it's a pretty biting criticism. I want to go ahead and play it for you, and we'll talk about it as we go here.
Democrats are painting Republican Senate candidates running in upcoming elections and midterms as cruel and out of touch. Well, apparently Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell is content to leave them out to dry and fend for themselves. Listen to these comments. Very encouraging.
There's probably a greater likelihood the House flips than the Senate. Senate races are just different. They're statewide.
By the way, his negative charisma is astonishing. Like, nobody has ever been more boring in human history than Mitch McConnell. I mean, Mitch McConnell makes Noam Chomsky sound like The Rock. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen in the race, but there's going to be some stuff that happens in the race. Noam Chomsky makes, who's another boring person? Come on, Kyle, get your brain to work now. I'm trying to make another comparison, but I'm struggling to, Noam Chomsky. Oh my God, I can't talk and I talk for a living. This is so difficult. Why do any of you listen to me? It's amazing. He makes Wolf Blitzer sound like he's, Nina Turner. Like just a rousing, speech giver or whatever. Jesus Christ, man. Take Adderall or some shit. Fuck, snort some lines, Mitch. Snort some lines off a stripper's ass. Give yourself a little bit of energy, please, for the love of God.
Candidate quality has a lot to do with the outcome.
Candidate quality. You mean like in Pennsylvania?
I love how Sean thinks this is like a real snub or a real dig at the other Republicans. What he's saying is, look, if we don't win the Senate, it's because, maybe the candidates aren't that inspiring. Why is that scandalous? Wouldn't that almost be like definitionally true? I guess what Sean Hannity wants is for him to go out there and be like, rah, rah, yay, Republicans. And look, there's an argument that is his job, right? But look, the fact of the matter is, and this is what people might not see, because there's the public position and the private position of the Republican establishment. But the private position is, hey, we can't win a general election in 2024 with Donald Trump. all of these Trump-like Republicans who are running in the midterm election are like an anvil around our neck, and we don't like them. We don't like them. They make us less electable. So in other words, Mitch McConnell wants to at least try to hide some of the Republican positions that he knows are unpopular and that he knows don't sell. Like the election denying stuff. Mitch McConnell is atrociously conservative. He's super far right in terms of his voting record. He's sold out to the corporations 1,000 times over. He's socially regressive and primitive and retrograde in terms of, his views on like abortion and things of that nature. But he has the sense to understand when you have candidates running around going, the election's rigged, it's terrible, Trump is the rightful president, Trump should be emperor. Like, that's going to hurt your brand. He knows that. And so that's why he's not like all that enthusiastic. And he's right to not be all that enthusiastic. But Hannity doesn't like that because Hannity loves to slob on that Trump knob, dog. He goes Insky. I mean, he is tossing Trump salad on a regular basis. Oh, God, the visuals. Oh, sweet Jesus. God damn it.
Democratic Senate candidate, a devout socialist style, in the vein of, let's see, Bernie Sanders, who he...
Is he drunk? He's like falling all over himself and drooling as he's trying to get these words out. And I love how his attack on Fetterman is that Fetterman is like super based and he's like Bernie Sanders, who consistently ranks as the most liked senator in the country. Sean, this is not the attack that you think it is. This is what happens when you're too deep in that right-wing bubble. You don't realize that, you're not really making a good counter-argument here.
Endorsed over Joe Biden, a guy that literally can't put two sentences together himself. He's just only been...
Okay, super ironic that Hannity is saying this after he just struggled to get a sentence out. That is very ironic. Now, look, it is true. Fetterman had a stroke. He did a campaign event recently. It was a tough campaign event. I mean, clearly he is still recovering from the stroke. But the fact that... Look, I love the fact that the voters overlooked that. I do. Because, again, it's like when Bernie had a heart attack and then he went up in the polls afterwards. Voters were like, I really don't care about that. I care about what direction you want to take the country. That's good. That shows, an intelligence among the voting population.
11 minutes on the campaign trail, a guy that wants to legalize heroin and have areas where people can...
First of all, I don't think he has argued for legalizing heroin. Second of all, if he did, that is super based. Look, man, the fact of the matter is, drugs are not a criminal issue. They are just not. Is there a reasonable debate to be had between, look, which substances do we fully legalize and which substances do we just decriminalize? Yes, I think there's a reasonable debate to be had there. And some people who lean more libertarian are going to say, look, just legalize all of it. Right? I mean, it's a liberty issue. It's a freedom issue. That's the answer, right? And then others who are more cautious will say, well, legalize marijuana, maybe legalize some hallucinogenics, but you should probably keep, cocaine illegal because it has all these harms, but you could decriminalize it. So in other words, no prison time. That's what decriminalization is. Legalization means it's you go buy it at the store or whatever, right? So, I mean, that's the spectrum of reasonable debate on that issue. What's Sean Hannity's position on that issue? Ban everything and lock people up who I don't like who take those things and sell those things because I'm old school and traditional and I'm an authoritarian. That's his position.
Shoot up in public. I hope Fetterman gets better health-wise, but it's just a simple fact. He's to the left of Bernie Sanders.
I don't know if that's true, but if that's true, I like Fetterman even more now. I honestly, I don't think that's true. He did support Bernie Sanders. Fetterman has previously described himself as a democratic socialist, but there are also some positions that Fetterman has espoused that are definitely not to the left of Bernie Sanders. I mean, Bernie's on the issue of Israel, better than almost everybody in D.C., but that's like being the tallest kid in kindergarten. Fetterman's actively terrible on the issue of Israel, okay? But as far as I can tell, that's one of few issues where there's really a concern. In terms of comparing him to Dr. Oz, it's night and day, man. If your purity test is so ridiculous that you wouldn't vote for Fetterman over Oz in Pennsylvania, you need your head examined.
And yet you don't hear Chucky Schumer complaining about candidate quality in Pennsylvania. How about you get out there, Mitch, and fight for your team? What's your agenda, Mitch? Or would you rather just sit...
Okay, let me answer that question. Here's what Mitch McConnell's agenda is. Literally everything that Trump's agenda was. That's what it is, Sean. That's what it is. See, this is why conservative politics gets so silly sometimes, especially among this pundit class and among the politicians. Liz Cheney voted with Donald Trump 93% of the time. Functionally, they are the same person. I'm sure Mitch McConnell's is even higher. I haven't checked the number on 538. You guys can do that if you'd like, but my guess is he's voted with Trump 96, 97% of the time. So they all agree. They all agree. The thing that gets Sean Hannity so butthurt is that some of these people do not want to go along with the whole, hey, the election was rigged stuff. Now, by the way, some of them might even believe the election was rigged, but they know if I say that, that's going to hurt me with voters, so I'm not going to say it. But he's such a fucking meathead, Hannity is. Like, he wants, you know, a loyalty to Donald Trump that is sycophantic. That is like, you know, sort of like, treat him like the dear leader, like we're in North Korea or some shit.
And watch helplessly as Democrats lie to your face, pass another $500 billion green energy boondoggle next year. Or is it maybe Mitch McConnell hates Donald Trump so much that he would probably rather see Trump-endorsed candidates lose because he thinks that might hurt Donald Trump? His time as a leader needs to come to an end.
Civil war in the Republican Party, baby. Civil war in the Republican Party. Look, what McConnell is doing is he's positioning himself so that when a lot of these candidates lose, and he thinks they will, he thinks there's nothing he can do to stop that, he can say, well, look, I'm the traditional brand of Republican, and here are all of our traditional brand Republican candidates, and we'll do all the same things Trump did, but we won't try to steal elections. So he's trying to position himself to have a political life after these candidates get draxed, because he's convinced they're going to get draxed. That's what's going on here. That's what it is. Ain't no amount of cheerleading that Mitch McConnell can do that's going to get some of these freaks over the line, Sean. Hate to tell you. But again, it's hilarious to me that there is this civil war because they're totally in unison and in lockstep on the actual policy issues, which is the stuff that matters. And Sean Hannity still says, nope, not pure enough. It's unbelievable. But it is fun to sort of see the infighting on the right, particularly because usually the brand of vicious infighting is reserved for the left, where you have people in lefty media world going after other people in lefty media world, or, you know, going after fights amongst the politicians, or even among, you know, the people. So there's a lot of dysfunction everywhere you look. I'm happy to see that some of it is coming from the right. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.